of this research. Then, in the second point, I will talk about the objective of this research. The third part, I will talk about the research methodology. And in the fourth part, I will talk, a discussion will be presented. E-learning has expanded in recent years. A lot of attention has been focused on developing systems and methods to facilitate access to online information and minimize geographical, temporal, and economic barriers. Massive open online courses are one of the initiatives resulting from this movement. Since its inception, the MOOCs movement has been the subject of much international debate about online learning. The MOOC is an online course with no condition of admission, no limits to participation, and allows access to knowledge. The MOOC's revelation can be seen in the number of students registered and the number of MOOCs published by many universities around the world. This is what leads researchers to adopt this movement, believing that MOOCs will create a revolution in the field of education compared to other forms of online learning, especially with the characteristics that are summarized in the letter of its acronym. Although MOOCs are a relatively new trend in technology, the concerns about teaching and learning in MOOCs remain the same as those for online learning. However, the unusually high dropout rate is alarming. Several studies highlight that is due to the lack of the learner interaction in the learning systems. It's obvious that the open and massive character of MOOCs leads to heterogeneity of learners in the term of knowledge, expectations, needs, objectives, and learning styles, shown in slide by different scholars and different scholars. This heterogeneity makes it difficult to offer pedagogical content adapted to all learners. Therefore, it was necessary to find student-centered way to meet the different needs of the learners. One of the solutions that were adopted was to adopt personalization techniques to adapt the context of the MOOCs to the specificities of each learner. Confronted with the heterogeneity of learners and the challenges of MOOCs, the main questions is to review the research in learning environments, especially recommend systems. In this context, the present work aims to contribute to answering the following research questions. What is the impact of personalization MOOCs? What are the different approaches? And does effective information influence the learning process? Before starting, I would like to clarify the methodology used. For this overview, we use journals, articles that propose an approach to personalization MOOCs. We have chosen only 15 resources that we found relevant and represent the different personalization objectives. The articles reviewed most of the selected works. Personalized learning aims to adjust emotion of the learners, guide learners to get organized, recommend the most optimal MOOC, recommendation of personalized contents, or remediation activities. The article reviewed presents only an overview of the different techniques and methods of recommendations in MOOC. They can be classified according to the type of recommendation, which is course recommendation, thread recommendation, learning element recommendation, and recommend sphere. Each type of recommendation has its utility. Course and learning material recommendation aims to help maintain personalized content, to increase learner retention, and peer recommendation help to accelerate learning when the learner is in situation of blocking. Almost all selected papers propose learner models that are characterized by personalization parameters. These are used to determine the needs and different characteristics of learners, such as learning styles, knowledge level. Some personalization parameters are dynamic, like emotion. Based on this, we can classify personal recommendation into two important categories: simple recommendation systems and affective recommendation systems. Given that in the learning environment, there is no way to discern the text that in the learner behavior and intervene to gain attention and motivation. Similar to the role of teacher in a real classroom. To create more realistic learning environments similar to the real one, researchers have considered that the learner feels in a given moment as effective information that can lead to personalized learner. Most of the literature focuses on the emotion recognition problems. Moreover, few types of research are developed on how to make recommendations based on emotions in MOOCs. There are three common steps in the recognition of emotion, namely detecting emotion, classification of emotions, and analysis of emotions. For the first step, there are a variety of methods used to detect emotions, such as facial expressions, voice recognition, learner requests. Some of them are more effective in recognition emotions than others. Nevertheless, not everything is effective. Some of these sources of information are interesting and affect the learning process. For example, it is not the same when students learn on a freeway as when in his head on electroencephalogram, or haptic gloves in his hands, or pressure monitor in his arms. The skins of sensors are very interested and are thought to influence the learning process. In our study, some authors use unimodal approaches, and this is changing in very last years. Researchers have realized the benefits of using various sources by combining two or more sources of information. According to these authors, multimodality allows to give more accuracy and avoids the disadvantages of individual recognition methods. Each recognition method has its advantages and disadvantages, and generally depends on the context of the application. For example, in the case of language learning, speech recognition is more adaptive, even though the fact that adopting the learning request is a simple task. It can be tedious and disturbing for the learner. According to the others, although the methods of emotion recognition are diverse, no complete methods of emotion recognition in e-learning system is presented. This is due to the particularities of the domain. For classification of emotion, in the literature, we can classify it in two categories. Emotion defined as categories like basic emotion of Ekman and continuous models. For relation between emotion and learning process, the impact of emotions on e-learning on learning process has been widely studied, and there is theory that has been established. Students' emotions affects their learning performance. One way for proving the relation between emotion and learning performance is through experimentation. Although these studies are limited to a certain number of learners that represent experimental group that has an emotional instructional design of activities. The recommendation of learning research based on emotions from students is still a big challenge. Effective recommendation systems in education are largely unstudied, especially in MOOCs learning environments. Despite the importance of emotion that reveals relevant information about learners' behavior and knowledge construction, which can be useful for improving learning performance. The temporality of the learner's emotions, the durability of the learning process, the subjectivity of emotion can explain this. For emotional recognition, many issues are present. For example, emotions are temporal, which means that when a user is studying a learning resource, he feels an emotion, but when he changes to another learning resource, he could feel a different emotion. Even the same user can change his emotional state in the same learning resource, and this dynamic behavior introduces complexity to the recognition of emotions. The emotions are subjective, and the way students feel about each resource is different. When one student can be enthusiastic about learning from a resource, another can be disappointed using the same resource. And it is totally normal, because different students learn in different ways, because each person possesses different interests or motivation to use a learning resource. However, the current emotion of students at the moment of generating recommendation of content is very useful for taking or keeping students in optimal emotion states in the learning process, and also the challenges of MOOCs concerning their pedagogical effectiveness. In conclusion, many studies are interested in improving the quality of learning in MOOCs despite the role of affective information to guarantee quality and personalization learning. Its integration is still not studied enough. In this paper, we have presented the importance of personalization, an overview of different approaches like to study the role of affective information in the learning process. The relation between affective states and learning is no longer to be approved. Affective recommendation presents the best method because it allows the learner to adjust his learning paths according to his cognitive and affective states, which makes the learning more personalized. Then we proposed that the learner model should be exploited by including that affective information and other personalization parameters by using different emotional recognition techniques in real time, adjust them throughout the learning process and prevent learner. In addition, the use of different recommendation methods will increase accuracy and help solve recommendation problems. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mrs. Yusra Belghamouche, for your presentation. The goal is to give a review of learning analytics of MOOCs and how can we resolve the heterogeneity of learners in a MOOC by personalization of each course in the MOOC to have a good attention of learning.
Yes.
The presentation was excellent, rich, and very clear. Thank you. And you have respect to our time. We can go to the question. If there are any question, please. Any question? No question? Okay, I have just a question about effective recommendation system. How we can implement such as a recommendation system, Yusra? If you have
we can
idea.
implement affective recommendation.
Yes.
Like I have said in the presentation, by in the first step, that by detecting emotion, by the different methods,
Yes.
facial expressions are another. When we detect, for example, when we detect dismotivation or the learner is bored, we can recommend the content of another resource, or we can recommend like video or music for increase motivation and increase the retention of the learner to continue or to complete the learning process.
Okay. Is the MOOC the efficient solution to have distance learning? Yusra, if we can use it only, or we have to add other solution techniques to have a good learning in reality.
Please, I can get your points. You can repeat the question.
In point of view,
yes,
is the MOOC are efficient solution to have a distance learning, or we must add other techniques to resolve such problem that's existing in MOOC techniques?
Beside the advantages of MOOCs, like the ability of enter a large number of learner, MOOCs is a revolution, it represents revolution in e-learning because and we can integrate affective recommendation. It is the subject of our future work in the article. I didn't know if I have answered because I didn't understand your questions very clear.
My question is about if we can, if we should combine of two techniques, MOOCs and other techniques, to have a good solution for learners to avoid the limits of MOOCs techniques.
When you say techniques of MOOCs, I didn't understand techniques of MOOCs. I didn't get your point.
The MOOC, we can use others techniques or
because MOOC is like environments of e-learning.
Yes.
The techniques, I can't get the points of techniques of MOOCs.
I mean other solution other than MOOCs, if we can use it.
Solution. Please, I can speak in French because I get this point in English.
Yes. Je veux savoir, est-ce que l'utilisation des MOOC est suffisante pour avoir un apprentissage efficace, ou bien il faut utiliser d'autres solutions en combinaison avec les MOOC pour faire face aux limites on peut avoir, telles que l'heterogeneity of learners and so on.
Quand vous avez que chaque plateforme a ses avantages et ses inconvénients, et les MOOC, aujourd'hui, quand vous avez le nombre des universités et le nombre des apprenants augmente de plus en plus, ce qui représente que les MOOC présentent aujourd'hui une révolution. On ne peut pas dire l'efficacité, mais parce qu'il subsiste toujours des défis qu'il doit surmonter, qui se présentent sûrement, ou bien concernant son efficacité pédagogique, concernant l'hétérogénéité des apprenants. Maintenant, aujourd'hui, on peut dire qu'on peut remonter ce défi par l'intégration de la personnalisation des apprentissages dans les MOOC, à travers des paramètres de personnalisation, comme on a déjà dit, c'est-à-dire adapter le contenu d'apprentissage selon les besoins, selon les objectifs de l'apprenant, selon ses besoins, selon ses styles d'apprentissage. Et maintenant, aujourd'hui, il y a des travaux qui intègrent également la personnalité de l'apprenant. Donc, lorsqu'on combine tous ces paramètres de personnalisation, et plus que les paramètres de personnalisation sont aussi présents dans les plateformes MOOC, alors on dit qu'il y a une efficacité pédagogique parce que on ne peut pas diffuser ou bien délivrer le même contenu à un nombre d'apprenants que chacun présente des spécificités. Alors, lorsqu'il y a une personnalisation d'apprentissage, on parle sûrement d'une efficacité pédagogique.
Ok, très bien. Merci.
Merci.
Merci à vous. Is there any question about this presentation? Okay, it's time to move to the next presentation. The next one is entitled Analysis and Classification of Skin Cancer Based on Deep Learning Approach, will be presented by Youssef Filali and Hasna Khoury, Moulay Wahed Sabri, and Abdullah Arab. Is Mr. Youssef Filali here?
Yes.
Okay, you can begin, Mr. Youssef Filali.
So,
you have
hello.
10 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Filal Youssef, and I will present analysis and classification of skin cancer based on deep learning approach. So we will begin by a brief introduction. Then we will see the proposed approach, followed by experimentation, and finally conclusion and perspective. So as we know, the human body is mainly covered by skin. This layer tends to protect the body from the external factor that can harm the body. Most skin cancer occur on sun exposed area of the skin, and there is a lot of scientific evidence to support the ultraviolet radiation as a causative factor in the most type of skin cancer. And we can divide skin cancer in two types, malignant melanoma and non-malignant melanoma. As we can see in these pictures, in the left, malignant melanoma, and on the right, a non-malignant melanoma. So the melanoma skin cancer is a malignant tumor that brings about a huge number of deaths, and an earlier diagnosis of skin cancer will increase the percentage of cured patients. So to help dermatologists in this, a computer-aided diagnosis CAD system have been used for an early evaluation of skin cancer. So this system furnish quantitative and objective evaluation of the skin and relies on 4 steps: pre-processing, to remove artifact that the image contain, segmentation to have only the region of interest, followed by features extraction and features selection, and finally the classification of the lesion, or to use a deep learning method that can extract and classify automatically the skin cancer using a convolutional neural network that contain convolutional layers, pooling layers, and at the end, a fully connected layers. So our goal is to make a comparative study between 4 different deep learning architecture for skin cancer classification. So to have a good classification rate for skin image lesion, we will use a deep neural network that's composed in 2 part, the convolution and the fully collected layers. So the convolution is to extract the hidden features and patterns from the images. So the convolutional are composed on convolutional layers and pooling layers, which reduce the spatial size and the features representation. And at the end, a fully connected layer that use the features extraction for classify skin cancer in melanoma and non-melanoma. So our choice, we will use for our approach ResNet, VGGNet, GoogleNet, and AlexNet. And here a summary of the different deep learning approach. So for the AlexNet was developed by Alex Krzyzewski. It has 5 convolution layers, some of which are flowed by a max pooling, and there is 3 completely connected layers. VGGNet was developed by Scissorsman and Simonian. This architecture is quite similar to AlexNet, with many filters pushing on the depth, and VGG is a good alternative for extracting image features, and it contains 13 convolution layers, and at the end, 3 fully connected layers. GoogleNet won the ImageNet large scale visual recognition challenge in 2013, and it is similar to the architecture of AlexNet, but include new component that called the inception model. It's contain 21 convolution layers and 1 connected layers. And the ResNet was developed by Keimin He, and he created a new architecture with the skip connection and batch normalization. It contains 17 convolution and 1 connected layers. Here we can see the error rate of each deep learning algorithm. And we can see that ResNet got 3.6 error rate. So for the experimentation, we will validate our approach on 2 databases, PH2 that contain 200 images, 40 melanoma skin cancer and 160 non-melanoma. And for the ISIC dataset that contain 2,000 images, like 344 74 melanoma and 1,060 26 non-melanoma. And for the evaluation, we will use the sensitivity, specificity, precision, and the accuracy with using the number of true positive and true negatives, false positive and false negative. So for the results, we can see that ResNet got a higher score in the PH2 database and also for the ISIC dataset. So as a conclusion, to help dermatologists in their diagnosis, many solutions in image processing and analysis have been proposed. Several deep learning-based architecture, including AlexNet, VGG, GoogleNet, and ResNet were examined and compared in this study using the 2 database, ISIC and PH2. The ResNet 18 approach achieved a promising classification rate. And as a future work, we will try to implement the proposed approach in an embedded FPGA system. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf, for your presentation. It is clear and rich, and you have respect also the time allowed. Then we can ask question. Is there any question for Yusuf Filali about this comparison between deep learning architecture in the domain of skin lesion image? Any question, please?
Mr. Badr.
Yes, Mohammed.
Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for your efforts. I want to thank you and thank Mr. Yusuf for this clear presentation. And I want to ask a question, please, if you want.
Yes,
okay. Of course.
What about this choice? Can you just justify a choice of deep learning and not machine learning? Because you have choice skin cancer, so you can have structured data. So why do you choose deep learning?
Thank you for your question. So first of all, I have many articles about this. So I have already done many articles about machine learning, like CAD that contain preprocessing, segmentation, features extraction, and selection and classification. So the problem that we can have is the data set. Like if we have a small data set, we can have a good score. Like if we have not a very large data set, we can have a good score in machine learning. But when we have a large data set, we can use deep learning. So the choice here is just to compare the different deep learning approach to see the impact of small data set and large data set. But however, in this study, like in the PH2 and ISIC challenge, we got a higher score for both deep learning approach, like with the ResNet.
Thank you very much for this response. If you want, Mr. Badr, you want to second one, please.
Okay. Yes, of course.
I wanna ask about cancer, skin cancer. Is there just one cancer skin?
No, there is.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you can continue, please. Sorry.
Is there just one cancer skin? And my second part of the question, can you speak about your data? Have you take contact with the hospital here in Fes, for example, to take to have more data sets?
First of all, for skin cancer, there is two, like we can say, two big types, like melanoma and non-melanoma. Melanoma is the malignant tumor, and in non-malignant melanoma there are many types, like seborrheic and calcium melanoma and other types, but the malignant melanoma is the cancer that brings a huge number of deaths. So only to have a classification between two types will help dermatologists to help patients in this diagnosis. And for the second part, if I can have a data set on the hospital, I already go there, but we can't have a data set here in Morocco, because they said that there are not a lot of melanoma skin cancer in Morocco.
So you have take your 2,000 images from internet.
It's a challenge.
Okay. So thank you very much for your response, and the floor is you, Mr. Badr, please.
Okay, Mr. Mohammed, thank you for your interesting question. Yusuf, what is the high accuracy that you obtained for this for architecture?
The accuracy.
The accuracy, the height one.
Is only 22. 82.
82.
Yeah.
Okay. Then at what level of accuracy can we be trusted to make real diagnostics of skin lesion, Yusuf?
100%.
100%.
Yes.
Then we can't use this.
This is only a computer-aided diagnostic. We only have a look about the lesion. We can't say that we are 100% that is cancer or not.
Okay, then we can use this proposed approach to help.
We have a good look
diagnostics.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yusuf, for your interesting
Thank you.
presentation and your response. We can now move to the next presentation. I call Mr. Abdul Wahab Al-Azzouzi, Fatiha Kadari, and Abdul Ghani Lashkar to present their article entitled Physics Mathematization, Teachers' Observation of the Integration of ICT. Mr. Abdul Wahab Al-Azzouzi.
Mr. Badr, please.
Yes, Mr.
If you
Mohammed.
receive a message from a student of Mr. Jamal Alifi,
Yes.
he demand to accept her presentation here in our session, please.
Okay, okay, yes, of course.
Thank you very much, Mr. Badr.
I thank Rizlan Hnini, yes. Mrs. Rizlan,
Of course, of course.
you hear me, Mrs. Rizlan? Mrs. Rizlan Hnini, can you hear me? I think that there is a problem with the connection of Mrs. Rizlan Hnini. We can wait a few minutes to resolve this problem. Mrs. Rizlan. C'est Jamal? Mrs. Rizlan Hnini, can you hear me?
Good morning. Oui, Mr. Badr, Dr. Badr. Oui. Sorry.
Then you have a presentation to make.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you can begin. You can begin your presentation.
Okay.
The title of the presentation, please.
Spam image detection based on convolutional block attention model.
Okay.
So I will.
Okay, thank you. Well, you can begin.
Okay. Presentation. Can you see my screen, please?
Okay.
It's
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yes.
It's okay.
Okay.
Please,
thank you.
could you put your slide show on full screen?
Okay. It's okay.
It's okay now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Rizlan Hnini from Sidi Mohammed bin Abdillah University. In this opportunity, I would like to present a topic entitled Spam Image Detection based on convolutional block attention. So, as we know, nowadays, information is something that is very important. So many media are used to send information, one of which is email, with the various conveniences offered by email causing positive and negative impact. One of the negative impacts is that an abused email becomes a spam email that has the potential to be harm to the recipient. The content of spam email can be text or image. In this presentation or this paper, we focused on image spam email. So what is image spam? Before we move on to the next section, I would show an outline of the topic that we will be discussed in this presentation. There are 6 sections. First, introduction of image spam. Second, related works. Then we provide the neural network algorithm considered in this research. And next, we present the proposed architecture for image spam detection. In section 5, we present our experimental results. And finally, we conclude the presentation. So what is image spam? Image spam is one of the most recent tricks introduced and sent by irresponsible people known as spammers. It consists in embedding the spam message into image that embed the spam message into images that is sent as email attachments. Its goal is to evade the analysis of the email's textual content performed by spam filters, including automatic text classifiers. Since attached images are displayed by default by most email clients, the message is directly conveyed to the user as soon as the email is opened. It contains illegal and usually sent out of control so that it causes inconveniences and harm to recipient of spam email. Different works have been suggested in recent years to deal with the image spam phenomena. In this section, we provide some recent ones. Such Kumari's work proposed a technique for detecting image spam based on color features and the KNN algorithm. In this research, a straightforward KNN classifier yields an accuracy of 94.5%. There are also Kumar et al. Work. They proposed a deep learning-based approach for image spam detection using the convolutional neural networks, which uses a dataset with 810 natural images and 928 spam images for classification, achieving an accuracy of 91.7%, outperforming the existing image processing and machine learning techniques. In the paper of Anadata et al. Work, the super vector machine method has been applied to a set of 21 features. So using feature selection based on linear SVM weights, the authors achieved an accuracy rate of 97% with a relatively small set of features. The authors provide a challenge dataset that could serve as image spam, but is much more difficult to detect as compared to the real world image spam. Another work of Shavda et al. They conducted two sets of experiments with SVM and image processing. The authors use an extensive set of 41 image features that are extracted manually, and they achieve 97% and 98% accuracy on two publicly available datasets. These authors also provide a challenge dataset, which is shown to be even more difficult to detect than that developed in Anadata work. So recently, the attention mechanism has received increasing attention for its focus on important details and its ability to better capture visual structure. Moreover, the convolutional neural network architecture has been successfully applied in the field of the computer vision, demonstrating its powerful ability to represent features. In our study, a CNN with a convolutional attention model is proposed. So we combine convolution block attention with the CNN to simulate the visual attention mechanism and enhance the flow of information in channels and spaces. So the CNN, or convolutional neural networks, contains three main layers: convolution, the patch normalization, and the pooling layer. So for convolution layer, the features are extracted by performing a two-dimensional convolution of the input graph and the convolution kernel. For the patch normalization, it normalizes the feature maps generated by the convolutional layer, and finally the pooling layer. Its goal is to reduce the information. Concerning the CBAM model, it contains two independent sub-models, the channel and the spatial attention models, which can save parameters and computational power. To accomplish feature extraction and reduce data loss, the channel attention model compresses the feature maps on the spatial dimension using the global average Pooling layer and the global maximum pooling layer. So the global average pooling layer obtains the overall information, while the global maximum pooling layer obtains the feature variance information. The combination of these two layers is better than any layer. The descriptors are then sent to a shared network, such as multi-layer perceptron with a hidden layer. So after the shared networks is applied to each descriptor, the elements summation is used to merge the output feature vector. For the spatial attention, the channel attention is used as the input feature map of this model. First, the global max pooling and the global average pooling are performed based on channel to obtain two feature maps, and then doing concatenating operation on these two feature maps based on channels. Next, after a 7 convolution operation, it is reduced to one channel. After that, the spatial attention features is generated by sigmoid function. Finally, this feature is multiplied with the input feature of the model to get the final generated features or the refined features. So this is the architecture proposed by consisting of a total of 3 convolutional models. The first and the second models contain 2 convolutional layers, each followed by a normalization layer and the pooling and the SEBAM model, while the third model contains 2 convolutional layers. The first is followed by the patch normalization layer, while the second is followed by a maximum pooling layer. The global average pooling is applied to the final layer, which is obtained from the last convolutional block, and the sigmoid is used at the final for a classification. We will discuss our experiment to confirm the effectiveness of our proposed method and show the observed results. In our experiments, we used spam images from a publicly available dataset called Image Spam Hunter. It contains real images which are in GPG format. The total number of images in this dataset is about 1,738 images divided into 928 spam images and 810 or natural images. For the evaluation metrics, we use the accuracy, precision, recall, and the F1 score, as shown in the equations. So in this experiment, the data set is split into 2 parts, a ratio of 30% for the testing set and 70% for the training set. The SEBA model is trained for 20 epochs using the sigmoid and add-on functions. The obtained results are compared to the existing deep learning state-of-the-art models on email spam detection. The table presents the results obtained using the SEBA model that are conducted on Image Spam Hunter dataset and compared to existing state-of-the-art method. We can say that the CNN with the SEBA model perform well on the dataset with an accuracy of 98.65%, while CNN without SEBA model achieved an accuracy of 88.24%. The results obtained in this paper using the SEBA model are compared to the existing method. The model proposed by Shavda et al. Achieved an accuracy of 97%, as well as Nadata works attained an accuracy of 97%. This paper adds SEBAM to the basic CNN architecture for spam image detection. The SEBAM blocks further refines the feature extracted by the pooling layer to make the feature more distinguishable, compared with the classical network model. So our model extracts the features that better reflects image information with higher accuracy, which has obvious advantages. In the model, we use a sample network structure with lightweight features and less computation. To make our model more practical in future work, we will consider larger dataset and fusing multiple publicly available dataset into one dataset for learning. And thank you for attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rizlan, for your presentation. It was excellent, rich, and very clear.
Thank you.
There are any questions for Rizlan? Yes, Mr. Mohammed.
I haven't question, but I want to just thank Mrs. Rizlan for this clear presentation. And by the way, thank Mr. Jamal Alifi for this subjects. We have discussed this. It's a very important work, and
Yes.
really the students have presented clearly. It's not a paper; it's a presentation. You have to make attention more. And thank you. I hope best wishes for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed, for your congratulations to Rizlan Hnini and Mr. Jamal Rifi, Mr. Adnan Mahrez Ahyawi, and Mr. Hamid Tayri, our colleagues from Mohammed bin Abdullah University, Faculty of Science, Dar al-Mahrez. The subject spam image detection based on convolutional block attention model is a very interesting subject. The proposed architecture combining CNN and CBAM architecture is give 65% of accuracy.
Yeah.
Then it's more interesting than others architecture proposed by Shavada and Anadha.
Anyway.
My question, Rizlan, is about the data set 1,720 or bien 38 image.
About the data set,
Yes. It's not enough. It's not enough for to give a good model.
Yeah. So we try in the future work to have more data sets.
Yes.
We previously searched for another data set in the internet, but we can't find the data set that contain large images. So this is the challenging task to do. Donc, to have a data set that contains more images, I think is a challenging task for us.
Yes, of course. If you don't find a data set with a large images, then what is the solution? You can create our data set. No, it's a difficult task.
It can be a good solution to combine to create a new one, or to combine different data sets to have a large one. But the challenge is to find such images that contains spam and ham. So it's a challenging task.
Okay. About the resource needed, is there any comparison between the other solution proposed architecture about the GPU and the memory time and so on?
Still now, we compare just the accuracy of the model, but the time,
because the combining CNN and CBM,
yeah,
I think that the time and the resource needed,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more important in this case.
yeah. It can be it can be for the next paper.
Okay.
To find the solution to minimize the computational the time of training and the computational power.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Rizlan,
Thank you.
for your responses and explanation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, Mohammed, I call Mr. Talib Mahdi.
Okay.
And Finiq Yusuf. If they are with us, they can present their work. No. Mohammed Timi, Lubna Al-Awina.
Rizlan have to work too, Mr. Badr, on other format, because
Yes.
she have used just format GPG, I think.
GPG, yes.
Yeah.
You have to work on other format of images.
Yeah.
And you have to take on consideration real-time generation from images.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you
For example, if you want to use your approach on satellite images, can we do this or not?
Sorry, can you repeat,
For example,
please?
if I change the subject, can I use your approach on satellite images?
On satellite images. Yes, you can use the same architecture for the satellite images, because I think the architecture, the role of the architecture is to extract features from images. That's yeah.
So Mr. Badr have insist on characteristics of machine.
Yeah.
It's very important
To minimize the computational
to optimize the performance
yeah.
on a large data sets of satellite images.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed, for this explanation and advices to Rizlan to perform their contribution in the future, inshallah. Then, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank again our PhD students for their interesting and stimulating contribution, and the participants for the valuable following discussion. Don't leave, please, because right after this session, there is the closing session of this conference. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Mohammed, for your help.
Thank you, Mr. Badr, and excuse me for these conditions.
You're welcome, Mohammed. Me too. I'm traveling in a zone that I have a connection problem, but alhamdulillah, we have no problem.
No problem.
About connection, yes. Yes, Mohammed. You are in Morocco or
yes,
not?
Yes, always in Morocco. I have searched my boarding pass today.
Okay. Good luck to see you.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow we have a conference with Mr. Anis, inshallah.
Mr. Anis, yes, inshallah. Merci. Thank you very much. Good day.
Have a good time, Mr. Badr. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.